The police found the wedding dress folded neatly on the dining table 3 days after Emily Caldwell had been buried in it. Her grave was still fresh, her coffin had not been disturbed, but the dress was clean, pressed, laid out as if someone expected her to wear it again. And the security camera facing the front door showed no one entering the house. Har Har Mahadev, my friends. How are you, my family? What you're about to hear is not just a horror story, it's something that changed an entire household forever. Emily Caldwell had married into the Whitmore family exactly 9 months before she died. The Whitmores were one of those old money families in Briar Hollow, Pennsylvania, the kind whose name appeared on hospital wings and scholarship plaques. Their Victorian mansion stood on the edge of town, overlooking a river that locals claimed had swallowed more than a few secrets. Emily hadn't grown up with money. She was a kindergarten teacher from Ohio, warm, laughing, the type of woman who baked banana bread for neighbors she'd just met. When she married Daniel Whitmore, the town adored her. Daniel, on the other hand, had always carried something heavy behind his eyes. He was polite, handsome, soft-spoken, but distant. After the wedding, he insisted they live in the Whitmore ancestral home with his father, Charles. "It's temporary," Daniel had told her. "Dad doesn't like being alone." The mansion had been in the family for over a century. High ceilings, dark wood, portraits of dead ancestors watching from gilded frames. Emily tried to make it feel like a home. She opened curtains that had been closed for years. She placed flowers in hallways. She even started restoring the neglected greenhouse behind the property. But there was one room Charles Whitmore forbade her from touching: the cellar. It wasn't just a basement. It was an old stone chamber beneath the original foundation, accessible through a heavy iron door near the kitchen pantry. The door was sealed with an antique brass lock. "It's storage, nothing you need to see," Charles had said. Emily had laughed it off at first. Every old house had a creepy basement. But she began noticing small things. Every morning, the kitchen chairs would be slightly shifted, as if someone had sat there during the night. The sugar jar would be half empty. The back porch light, which she turned off before bed, would be glowing again by 3 a.m. Daniel blamed faulty wiring. Charles blamed old habits. Then came the first real incident. Emily woke one night to the sound of silverware clinking downstairs. Not crashing, not chaotic, just gently clinking, like someone stirring tea. She checked the time, 2:17 a.m. Daniel slept beside her, breathing slow and deep. She went downstairs. The kitchen lights were on. The kettle was warm, and a teacup sat on the table, steam rising. No one realized at the time that the real horror had already begun. The following weeks brought a subtle shift in the house. Emily started locking the pantry door at night after discovering it opened 3 mornings in a row. She began keeping her phone on record when she slept, and one afternoon, while organizing old linens in the hallway closet, she found something tucked inside a shoebox, a faded photograph. It showed a woman in a white gown standing in front of the Whitmore mansion. The photo was dated 1926. Written on the back in careful cursive, "First Offering." Emily felt a chill. She asked Charles about it during dinner. His fork paused mid-air. "Old family joke," he said flatly. Daniel avoided her eyes. That night, Emily dreamed of someone knocking from beneath the floorboards. 3 slow knocks. Then, silence. By early October, Emily began acting different. She became quieter, less bubbly. The greenhouse she once loved sat neglected. Daniel told friends she was adjusting to married life, but neighbors noticed something else. She started walking the property at night, barefoot, in her nightgown. The town security patrol caught her once on camera at 3:04 a.m., standing near the riverbank, staring into the water. When Daniel confronted her with the footage, she looked genuinely confused. "I've been sleeping," she said. Mid-October brought the mid-story spike. Daniel installed indoor security cameras after Emily claimed she heard whispering beneath the kitchen floor. The first night showed nothing unusual. The second night changed everything. At 2:14 a.m., the camera in the kitchen flickered, then stabilized. The footage showed Emily descending the staircase, but the timestamp on the bedroom camera showed her still in bed. 2 Emilys, one asleep, one standing in the kitchen. The kitchen version of Emily walked toward the cellar door, knelt, and pressed her ear against it. Then the iron handle began to rattle from the inside. Daniel rewound the footage 10 times. The bedroom feed never changed. Emily never moved from the bed. But what happened the next night changed everything. Charles Whitmore insisted the cameras were malfunctioning. He unplugged them. The following evening, Emily disappeared for 3 hours. Daniel found her in the cellar. The iron door was open. The antique lock lay broken on the floor. Inside the stone chamber were candles, arranged in a circle. Melted wax coated the floor. In the center lay an old wooden cradle. Emily was sitting beside it, rocking it gently. There was nothing inside. When Daniel pulled her up, she whispered something that froze him. "He's been hungry for so long." That was the first time Daniel called Pastor Allen from the small church on Briar Hollow's main street. Pastor Allen was not dramatic, not theatrical. He was a middle-aged man who had seen grief, addiction, domestic violence, real human darkness. He walked through the mansion quietly, prayed softly. When he reached the cellar, his expression changed. "What happened in this room?" he asked. Charles stepped forward. Nothing. Pastor Allen pointed at the stone wall behind the cradle. Faint carvings marked the surface. Symbols. Not crosses, not scripture. They looked older, rough, carved with something sharp. Emily began laughing softly. Not hysterical, not loud, just a steady, almost affectionate laugh. If greed hadn't blinded them, none of this would have happened. The truth unraveled that night. The Whitmore fortune had nearly collapsed during the Great Depression. Family letters discovered later revealed Charles's grandfather had sought alternative solutions to protect the estate. Local folklore spoke of river rituals, bargains, sacrifices. The photograph, labeled First Offering, wasn't a joke. It was a bride. Records showed she had died suddenly, weeks after her wedding. Official cause, pneumonia, but there was no burial record in town. Pastor Allen confronted Charles in the cellar. "What did your family promise?" Charles's face broke. "For prosperity," he whispered. "A bride must enter the house and stay." Daniel staggered back. "You told me it was tradition," he said. Charles nodded weakly. "Marriage brings blessing." Emily stood motionless in the center of the circle. Her voice changed. Not deeper, not monstrous, just calm. "He waited patiently, through wars, through births, through death. But you stopped feeding him." Daniel grabbed her shoulders. "Emily, listen to me." She looked at him with eyes that weren't angry, just disappointed. "You weren't supposed to love me," she said softly. "You were supposed to offer me." That was the hidden sin. Daniel had married her for love, breaking the pattern. Charles had expected compliance, but Daniel delayed whatever ritual had been done for generations, and now something in the cellar had awakened hungry. That night, the irreversible event happened. The mansion caught fire, not from faulty wiring, not from candles. The blaze started in the cellar. Neighbors reported hearing something like a child crying beneath the crackling flames. Firefighters found Charles Whitmore inside the cellar chamber, burned but not trying to escape. He was kneeling, arms extended towards the cradle, as if presenting himself. Emily's body was discovered in the river the next morning. Her lungs contained no water. Officially, she drowned. Unofficially, no one could explain how she left the burning house unseen. Daniel survived. He moved away. The Whitmore mansion was demolished. But here's the part that still divides Briar Hollow. 2 weeks after the fire, construction workers clearing debris found the wooden cradle intact beneath charred rubble, untouched by flame. Inside it lay something new, a modern hospital bracelet with Emily Caldwell's name on it and a date. 3 days after her burial. Some believe the Whitmore men staged everything, that Daniel or Charles manipulated Emily psychologically, that the double camera footage was altered. Others believe the ritual failed and something ancient demanded balance. One detail remains unexplained. In the final security footage recovered from a partially melted hard drive, a single frame shows Daniel standing in the kitchen at 2:14 a.m., facing the cellar door, smiling, even though he later swore he had been asleep upstairs. Was he protecting Emily, or was he finishing what his father started? The river behind the old Whitmore property still draws curious teenagers. They say if you stand near the bank at 2:17 a.m., you can hear a cradle rocking. 3 slow knocks, then silence. And even today, no one builds on that land after sunset. If you believe something was truly living in that house, share this story with someone who should never step into a place like that. And if you want to hear more terrifying true incidents, subscribe to this channel, because the next one may be even darker. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. It truly means more than you know. I'm just a village girl from India sharing stories from my small corner of the world. If any of you from the US ever visit India, please tell me in the comments. I would truly love to reply to you. My village is peaceful, full of nature and open skies. India is beautiful, and you are always welcome here.